I'd like to speak a little bit about the natural progression that seems to occur when the hunger to know the truth of things is the greatest hunger. You know what drives the experience of someone, the experience of being a separate, independent entity that thinks and acts, are two fundamental elements. And that is the desire for pleasure and the attempt to get away from or fear of pain. Not speaking only of physical pleasure and pain, but emotional. And so the program is constructed to desire pleasure and to attempt to manipulate and control to get away from pain. And this is what generates all of the appearance of movement, either very obviously or very subtly. But when the hunger to discover what really is this, as opposed to being a slave to this game program, when the hunger to know reality is the greatest hunger, the first step that happens is there is this intention to let go of the conditioned running after what the ego says I need, meaning the belief that it is going to bring some sense of pleasure. Or the ego saying, this is what I need to get rid of, meaning that the belief is it is going to bring some sort of pain. And there is just this intention to stop. Because if there is not stopping, it is not possible to see. In fact, when there is no running after pleasure or running away from pain, there is stopping. But at first there is this just simple intention to stop. Which means that what occurs is when there is the appearance of pain, whether it is physical or emotional, there is a greater hunger to see what is this than the conditioned attempt to get away from it. In the beginning, it's impossible, but the intention will do the work. What the intention will allow is the willingness to be there and feel the pain, be with it, receive it, as opposed to the constant manipulating, perpetuating the feeling of someone, always running from a similar dynamic that cycles around. The willingness to stop and be with it begins the process of burning away the identification that I am this character. Just to receive. It is a great challenge in the beginning, but it actually feels so much better than the habit of running away. The same thing about the giving up of what it is I believe I need. There is something so much richer and truer feeling than being this mouse on a treadmill that is what typically runs the experience of me. And when there is this stopping, that which feeds the speed of all of it begins to slow down because it is no longer being fed. The awareness begins becoming closer and closer to what is present. Where the mechanical nature of all of it can begin to be seen. And then there is a point when the attention really begins to approach so close to what is called the eternal now, what is present, what is aware. And what occurs when this happens is the turning and looking to notice the mechanics of the workings that have created the experience of someone as they become so close to what is truly present. For the first time, the investigation becomes pure. Because when the investigation is coming out of the character, it is coming out of ego. And no matter how hungry the character is for truth, there is burning that must happen to free identification, to bring attention back to where the truth of your existence has always been. What occurs when this movement actually moves into what is present is what is recognized is what was perceived to be pleasure is not pleasure, and what was perceived to be pain is not pain. The moment it shifts from a bargaining to try to get rid of something or try to get something, the whole illusion releases. And there is the recognition that the experience of pleasure and pain arise out of the attempting to get and get away from. When there is no attempting to get or get away from, but investigation is pure, the mechanical, phenomenal nature of it is revealed. What is further revealed is how the feeling of someone is just more mechanical phenomena. The intention to turn within, to discover the truth, as opposed to the separate character wanting to get enlightened. The discovery is there has never been any such thing as pleasure or pain outside of the experience of the ego, which is the appearance that appears when there is falling away from what is, which is eternally now, which is your existence. What is tasted in meeting your existence as the result of letting go of the following of desire, or true investigation of the following of what had been experienced as pain is the meeting of pure beauty. As soon as there is the slightest bit of desire, it will vanish. The willingness again not to follow the attempt to get, and just to remain still and to investigate, what is this desire? Until the mechanical nature of it is revealed, until there is the return with what is present, then the desire is gone. And what was being desired is discovered to be all there is. When it is the greatest hunger, the investigation is more important than the mind's interpretation of getting or getting away from. It does not work that way in the beginning, but when there is the simple intention for this to be so, the burning is holy burning. It is burning away illusion. It is ripening the readiness. On the one hand, when there is the parting of the seas and the seeing of clarity and the meeting of yourself, on the one hand there is the recognition this is what has always been. There has just been the movement away from based on these mechanical, conditioned beliefs. On the other hand, which is really not another hand, the taste is the most exquisite, beautiful thing, more beautiful than anything the projected mind-body can begin to approximate. The subtlety is that the search after the taste is going to be driven by the desire. It's all mechanical. When the intention is to watch the desire or to watch the fear that is trying to get away from, again, there will usually arise a phase of burning that tastes like this bittersweet beauty and so much more full and right than running, so much more real. Until the burning stops. Until the investigation is true investigation, not looking for something, but out of the hunger to discover what is real, out of the devotion to what lives and resides silently inside. Eventually the seeing is that pain and pleasure, which simply are the contraction and expansion of energy, are all phenomena that are all mental contrivance. none of which have ever existed in the feeling of your own existence, which is eternally the same. But the greater the willingness to meet what is feared, the more the beauty reveals itself. When you are dreaming at night, can't have a dream you are being tortured, or can't have the dream that you have awakened, and the moment you wake out of the dream, it is gone, nowhere to be found. This is the result of true investigation, except it does not lead to nothingness. It leads to that with which true longing is longing for. What occurs is this building of this relationship. That the letting go of the pull to run after desire and the letting go of the attempt to control pain it becomes the orientation of the life. In other words, the hunger to stop the illusory, manipulative process that pulls you away from yourself, and to discover for your own self, what is this? touching every impulse as it appears. Holding the humble intention to let go of the conditioned habit of trying, or just noticing trying, mechanically appearing. It all begins to slow down when it is not fed, when there is no one trying to slow it down. When the intention is not about outcome, it's not for me. It is not arising out of the illusion of someone, but it is investigation of self to self. It is clear mind, clear awareness, laying witness to the creation of its dream and its mechanics, and at the same time opening the door to feeling itself all the way in the moment, free and clear as your own illuminated heart. Initially in this process, all mind wants to do is get away from. But when the steadfastness is there, there is the receiving of this underlying agitation, and what is received is liberated. Then there is the receiving of what the mind fears. And when it is received, it is the holy burning, it is liberated. And then there is the discovery that just the simple seeing of what is real is all that has ever been hungered for. And then the individual conditioned mind is out of it. And the light lays witness to its own existence.